told you, sons of that Jay main event Uso is that guy. What is up, guys? Welcome back to the Daily WrestleCast here on the Casual Wrestling Channel. It is Tuesday, May 14th. I am the host of the show, the voice of the casual wrestling fans, the Notorious Nerdy D, and each and every day I drop in for a few minutes to talk pro wrestling with the Casual Wrestling faction. We are going to talk about the biggest things going on in the world of professional wrestling. If you enjoyed the casual wrestling content, please take a second to join the Casual Wrestling faction. The link is in the description of this video. It is 100% free to join. That is where we do exclusive giveaways. We drop the polls and we do all of the bonus content for the channel. So if you're a fan of what we're doing here, make sure to join the faction. Before we jump into the news like we normally do today, I want to take a second to take my victory lap. I'd like to take a second here on the show because everybody else woke up this morning. Everybody else woke up this morning acting like they had the realization of everything that I was talking about yesterday. Everything I said on the show yesterday, everybody's waking up today and now they're talking about it. I went 4 for 4. I went 4 for 4 on my King of the Ring predictions. You don't believe me? You don't believe me? Let's open up that piece of paper we talked about yesterday where I wrote who was going to win in the Jey Uso and Ilya Dragunov match. Let's open it up. What does that say? What does that say? Y'all act like I don't know. Y'all act like I don't know. That's Jey motherfucking main event Uso. That's how WWE works, guys. He yeeted all over everybody. We're yeeting all the way to the crown. Welcome, everybody who woke up this morning and decided to join me in what I already knew. The King of the Ring championship match is going to be Tama Tonga versus Jey Uso. I said that yesterday. I'm glad y'all woke up and realized it, but I said that yesterday. And I'll say it again here today. It just makes sense. It just makes sense. Y'all saw the crown that is sitting in that case with all of those beautiful diamonds on it. That's not meant for Gunther. That's going to look stupid on Gunther. That bitch was made for Jey motherfucking main event Uso. It'll match the grill. He's the guy who's going to be rocking that crown. It just works. This story just works. It reinserts him into the bloodline story. Jimmy Uso can return and get involved. It checks all the boxes. The Yeet flies will be out. I tried to tell y'all, I'm 3 steps ahead on how this WWE stuff is booked because I'm a casual fan and I have the casual mindset. But for real though, I had someone tell me yesterday on TikTok that I'm just a contrarian. That I just take the contrarian opinion on every video I make. I just take whatever's popular and I choose to take the opposite side of what most people are talking about. If that's not the most IWC thing that I've ever heard in my life, I don't know what is, because I don't agree with every dweeb ass thought that this guy has. I'm the issue. Like, because I don't care that Jey Uso only does 3 moves. I'm the problem. Because I'd like to be honest when I talk on a microphone and I tell you guys I don't understand the appeal of Dragunov. I'm the problem. Or because I'll openly say out loud that I think Will Ospreay is overrated. That makes me defiant. That makes me contrarian. How dare I not become a sheep and just subscribe to the Dave Meltzer world of AEW is the greatest thing in the world, and you've got to like the IWC darlings. No, that's not me. I'm a free thinker. I can sit here and tell you guys what I think. It makes me an honest podcaster. I'm not contrarian. I'm not making these things up to be difficult. I just say what's on my mind. There have been plenty of times I've said something out loud, then gone into the Discord and talked to somebody like We Too Deep, like Milwaukee Mike, like Wavy D, and they've given me different perspectives and helped me see things in a different way. And I come back the next day and I go, I have a different outlook on this. But typically, I'm just saying what's on my mind, and typically, I tend to think very differently than the common person in the IWC. The IWC is just mad. They're mad because I'm back on TikTok and I'm stirring shit up again, and the casual wrestling faction's there with me, and we're not doing the sheep thing. We're not just regurgitating the Dave Meltzer bullshit, and we're saying the things that need to be said. With that, let's start today's show with the headlock headlines. Three stories to talk about today. First one comes from SEScoops.com, and it says CM Punk is not far from returning to the ring, and he might actually compete at SummerSlam. Uh-oh. Boy, the WWE haters better buckle up. WWE is about to be turning on all cylinders. Right now, we're not firing on all cylinders, and we're still killing the game. But WWE is about to be firing on all cylinders. We're about to have Drew McIntyre and CM Punk both cleared to go at SummerSlam. It's over for the IWC. It's over for the AEW tryhards. This match is going to absolutely kill. This match is going to possibly be the match of the year. For all the people who said CM Punk was washed up, let's go. We get to see it in Cleveland. We get to see it at SummerSlam. This match has to just dig into the sides of all of the AEW stands who thought they were going to sign Drew McIntyre. You guys really thought there was a point in time where you guys thought that you were going to sign Drew McIntyre away from the WWE. There was a time that you guys thought that you could have the match CM Punk versus Drew McIntyre. And now look what happens. Both in WWE. You guys thought that this was the type of match that happens at the MGM Ballroom in Las Vegas? Nah. Nope. That's not happening. CM Punk versus Drew McIntyre in Cleveland, OHIO is happening, boys. Biggest rivalry of the year, possibly match of the year. It's about to get physical. And I've already seen online the IWC hedging on this match. Nothing will ever beat MJF versus CM Punk. That's fine. I got no problem with that. Cool. That was fun to watch. But you guys pushed CM Punk out the door, not me. I've championed CM Punk. I didn't push him out the door. That was what you guys did. And I'm not trying to take a shot at MJF because I like MJF. And I hope eventually he comes over to the men's league, the grown men's league of pro wrestling. But MJF's about to catch a stray right here. Drew McIntyre has ascended to a god-tier social media superstar, and with the short leash that Drew McIntyre's been given on WWE because of the PG era, Drew McIntyre's done a pretty good job of doing and saying whatever he wants in the ring. I think, if you guys would have got Drew McIntyre, he could have been as good or better than MJF on a microphone. He's just limited by what he can say in the grown men's league. I don't know if there's actual bad blood between CM Punk and Drew McIntyre, but what I do know is they are selling the shit out of this story. I am absolutely excited about this, being that I'm a SmackDown guy. I'm the ambassador for Friday Night SmackDown. So I'm not necessarily the biggest fan of all these guys on Raw stepping up and finding themselves, but more than a SmackDown guy, I'm a wrestling guy. And this is good for wrestling. The main event scene of Monday Night Raw, it's going to be just fine. I questioned it a couple weeks ago, but it's clear. These guys are going to step up. Damian Priest stepped up. CM Punk stepping up. Drew McIntyre stepping up. Jay motherfucking main event Uso stepping up. Raw looks good right now. 3 hours, very digestible. I know it's a good Raw when I look at my watch by the end of the match and I go, or by the end of the night, and I go, oh, it's almost over. There was a time where 3 hours felt like, can we just end this thing? Story number 2 today. More WWE QR codes lead to an intriguing 5.16.24 floppy disk image. When I tell you guys, I'm over this QR code shit, I'm trying to tell you guys I'm over this QR code shit. All of this cryptic nonsense in these weird video packages. The Wyatt Six better be the best thing I've seen in professional wrestling in the last 10 years. They better have 6 months of just hellacious stories written. They better be the biggest thing on TV when they debut. Because if not, what are we doing here, guys? I mean, it feels like it's time. I don't know if I can take much more of this Scooby-Doo ass episode shit. I have to crack multiple riddles now when I'm watching Monday Night Raw. I have to figure out what Liv Morgan's wearing. I got to figure out what's hanging out of her pocket. I've got glitches. I've got QR codes. Sometimes when they just glitch the screen and it means nothing, I grab a magnifying glass and I'm standing around looking for like a cockroach in the ring going, Lauren, is that a reference to Nikki Cross? Like, it's out of hand. There's just too much. You have to be right in the mystery machine at this point in time to understand these riddles. Now I'm seeing social media starting to bubble up and talk about that we're linking this back to Alexa Bliss again. And look, I actually like that idea. I actually like the idea of the Wyatt Six being centered around Alexa Bliss and not actually centered around Uncle Howdy. Kind of in the same way that Uncle Howdy was a mentor and kind of haunted Bray Wyatt. I like the idea of using Alexa Bliss as the main character in the faction and having the group kind of surround her and her be the extension of Bray Wyatt. She works so close with him. I think it would be fun to take that angle into this thing and not necessarily have a Uncle Howdy-led faction, but more as Uncle Howdy overseeing this faction. I think it would be fun to see a female-led faction that kind of has an agenda that spans over the men's and women's divisions. And I know that's kind of what the Judgment Day was, but they never declared a clear leader with Rhea Ripley. So I think that like declaring Alexa Bliss the leader of this group could be fun. I think it could be interesting. I think they need that level of star power to get the internet traffic talking about the group on a weekly basis, because that's what it's about. It's about getting the IWC and groups on the internet to talk about what's going on to generate that buzz that the casuals then start to pick up on. But I'm going to need a resident like WWE Clue expert to come on the show on a weekly basis and break these things down for me. Like, we could call it the Casual Conspiracy Report. Someone who's good at Sudoku or some shit. Like someone who does crossword puzzles. Because I don't know, man. I see 5/16/24 and I go, damn, that's a Thursday. I'm not trying. Like, Thursday's my day off from watching wrestling. I'm not trying to figure out who Uncle Howdy is on a Thursday. I'm not trying to jump into the mystery machine and figure out what the latest QR code is. And now they're talking about it might be on Twitch and it might be like, that's too much for me. I need an expert to come on Friday's show and explain to me what's going on. You can send all applications to be the Casual Conspiracy Coordinator to questions@casualwrestling.com. Third story today is Saraya joined AEW to pave the way for her brother's signing. Hold on, give me a second. Hold on, just give me a second. Listen, let's read that again. Let's read that again because I don't know. Let's make sure everybody heard that in the back. Saraya joined AEW to pave the way for her brother's signing. Well. The truth eventually shows its ugly face. Does the IWC not see this trend? Do they not see what's going on here? Every time someone signs with AEW, there is some shady, weird backroom business deal that is attached to the signing. Whether it's, I need creative control, I need stupid amounts of money, I need nepotism. Does anybody just sign with AEW? Just because they want to? just because that's the place that they actually want to be. Not Edge, who signed because WWE won't pay attention to me. Not Saraya, who apparently was, if I come, can my brother have a job? Not Will Ospreay, who came because I don't want to tell stories. I just want to wrestle. I don't know one Tony Khan signing that doesn't have this giant-ass red flag attached to it. Here's the actual quote from Saraya's brother. So here's the story that is definitely going to rattle some fans, right? So before my sister got to AEW, myself and middleman Christopher Daniels were talking about Zach Zodiac coming to AEW. Zach Zodiac must be Paige's brother. This was a year before my sister got there. It was pushed back. Does he got a visa? Can he do this? No, he doesn't have a visa, but he can get a visa. If you guys are interested, he's willing to get a visa, etc. We were speaking for a good 5 or 6 months, and then it was like, okay, we just need to hold on. I then found out that they were chatting with my sister and that she might possibly be going to AEW. She's having to make a big decision between WWE and AEW, and I'm speaking to her like, if you need to go back, go back. But if you choose AEW, you may open the door for me to get my foot in the door. So she ends up going to AEW, and for everyone that needs to know this, yeah, she did say, give my brother a shot. It's a long quote, but it needs to be said. This has to be a joke, right? Like this is the way Tony Khan's conducting business. I joke all the time that Tony Khan will literally sign anyone and do anything to get a new shiny toy, but this is it. That's the proof. That is the damning evidence. I wonder if at some point Saraya walked into Triple H's office like, here's the deal. This is what Tony Khan's offering me, right? I go to AEW and he's going to sign my brother. And I can just imagine Triple H going, all right, enjoy being all elite because we don't want Zach Zodiac. And I could care less about nepotism. Wrestling is riddled with nepotism. But I just find it funny that these are all the same wrestlers who, when they jumped into AEW, immediately took shots at WWE. And now we find out that, no, they didn't choose AEW because of AEW. They chose AEW because of weird ulterior motives that were like, yeah, I'll go to AEW, but you got to take my cousin, my uncle, my brother. Like, Saraya came out and tried to sell us on this idea, I'm here to save the women's division. No, you're here to try to give your brother a career. Once again, I think WWE dodged a bullet. That's enough news. Let's switch gears and let's talk our Raw in review. So I'm going to double down again. I told you sons of bitches that Jay motherfucking main event Uso is that guy. I don't think y'all listen. Y'all continue to let yourselves slide into that IWC mentality. You get on the backs of these 5'9", 187-pound internet darlings. Y'all keep saying that Gunther is a lock to be the king of the ring. And I keep telling you guys, not so fast. Gunther doesn't need a crown. Gunther doesn't need the diamonds. Gunther's next in line to be a world heavyweight champion. But that crown will look nasty on Jey Uso. It would look real nice with those diamonds on top of Jey Uso's head. Full stop, though. Let me start by saying, watching last night's match, Jey Uso versus Ilya Dragunov, I slid into the I get it camp. I understand. I'm not sold on Ilya being a top guy, but I'm in the, I get it. I get why you guys like this guy camp. He grunts, he screams, he yells, he looks like he's trying super extra hard, so I get it. Right now, I'm sold. Ilya Dragunov, solid mid-card addition to Monday Night Raw. Not ready to crown him the next big main event thing, but I could see how you guys are getting excited about an Ilya Dragunov Gunther match down the line. I can see it. I understand it. I'm starting to come around a little bit, but having said that, Ilya Dragunov is no Jay motherfucking main event Uso. Did you guys see that? Did you see the magic of Jey Uso last night? Now, I'm still wondering, did you guys pull out your abacus and count how many different moves Jey Uso did last night? Because I didn't. I didn't give a shit. I just watched him yeet all over the ring. I watched him yeet all over the crowd. I watched him yeet all over your boy Dragunov. And that spear, Jay, that spear, we're finally getting it. That last spear that Jey Uso hit, that was a grown-ass man spear. I'm still going to need him to find his own finisher. That's something that's going to happen when we have time for that. But at least you didn't hit the weak noodle spear that you've been hitting on the last couple episodes of Monday Night Raw. You finally hit a grown man spear. You put a little bass inside that tackle. I tried to tell you guys. I tried to tell you guys. Tama Tonga versus Jey Uso makes sense. It makes sense. You got to look, when these tournaments come out, you got to break down all the angles. You got to look at all the possibilities, and this always made sense to me. It checks all the right boxes. It tells all the right stories. It has the makings of a chaotic King of the Ring match in Saudi Arabia. Jey Uso has to beat Gunther far more than Gunther needs to beat Jey Uso. If we're trying to build new stars, this is the path we take to get there. And in a smart booking world, there's a million ways for Gunther to come in and out of this match completely fine. No, nothing changes for Gunther, right? He can come into the match injured. He can get attacked during the match. He can probably even lose clean to Jey Uso, and it won't be a problem. You can get Gunther out of this thing without hurting any of his momentum. Gunther is being set up for a long world title run down the line later this year. He doesn't need a crown full of diamonds getting in his way. But Jey Uso, on the other hand, Jey Uso is setting the world on fire. The yeet flies. Man, the yeet flies. Jey Uso has the American crowd standing up and getting hyped. This is a movement. And I see guys like We Too Deep in the Discord saying that the fans could turn on him. I understand that. I don't see that here. I think the path moving forward for Jey Uso is pretty set in stone, and it's a pretty positive path that I think he can hold on to this. Jey Uso's likable. He makes funny noises. He says funny things. He says all the cool shit that the young people say, and the kids like it. The kid's like, he's got cool glasses. He's got a cool t-shirt. He's got the best entrance in the business right now. And more than likely, he's going to reunite with a humbled babyface Roman Reigns some point down the road. And they're going to be treated more like equals. And I think that's just going to boost his position inside of WWE. I think that at Jey Uso, at the end of the year, we're going to look back and say that 2024, he had the best year. He had the most storied year. Gunther probably wins Wrestler of the Year. But I think that Jey Uso has the most storied year, that has kind of the most kind of character, the most swag to it. Some other notable things that happened on Raw this week as well that we could talk about. We laid the groundwork out for an eventual Drew McIntyre versus Damian Priest storyline. I think that happens. I don't know. I don't know when that happens. I'm not even sure if that happens. I think that might have just been a tease to throw us off of the scent of what's really going on. The main event scene on Raw is starting to become a little bit more clear to me. If I was booking right now, if I was booking the World Heavyweight Championship, I would do Gunther versus Damian Priest at SummerSlam. I would forego the Drew McIntyre, Damian Priest stuff, and I would go Gunther versus Damian Priest at SummerSlam with Gunther winning the title at SummerSlam. Good place for Gunther to win the title. Good time for us to kind of transition out of Damian Priest. And then immediately I would turn around and have Drew McIntyre beat CM Punk at SummerSlam and continue his momentum forward, which would lead to, in Germany, Gunther versus Drew McIntyre. I think that's the biggest match you can make for Germany. I think that main event would blow the ceiling off the arena. I think Gunther retaining in a hellacious match against Drew McIntyre would absolutely make sense. The thing that scares me is if Gunther is in a World Heavyweight Championship match where he is the contender in Germany, we know what's happening. We know he's winning. They're not doing that to Gunther. They're not giving Gunther the Drew McIntyre treatment in a building that is built for him. Unfortunately for Drew McIntyre, I don't see where he becomes a World Heavyweight Champion anytime soon. I think that Gunther has to win it at or before Germany, and Gunther is going to hold the belt at least a year. I really believe at least a year. I think Gunther is going to be the next big long-term dominant champion. I think that CM Punk will finish up with Drew McIntyre. He'll move on to other things. He doesn't need a title to be relevant. He could always just slide over to SmackDown and become a heel that Cody Rhodes needs. Cody's going to need a big-time heel, and I think CM Punk could be that guy. SmackDown's going to need a big kind of main event heel for Cody to work with, and I think that an overarching villain like CM Punk could be the type of thing to solidify Cody's title run, because right now, everybody's complaining. It's AJ Styles, it's Logan Paul, and if you look down the pipeline, there's not much better than that. I think CM Punk is the answer to Cody Rhodes' problems in the future. I'm afraid, though, that Triple H and WWE think that the Wyatt Six will be the right answer for Cody Rhodes, and I'm hoping that the Wyatt Six aren't inserted into Cody Rhodes' storyline and Cody gets tangled up in this web of a story that's more about the Wyatt Six and less about the WWE Championship. Becky is clearly putting over Lyra Valkyria. I think in the near future that will have a little bit more significance. I might have shifted my odds a little bit on the women's side. I think originally I had Jade Cargill winning the women's Queen of the Ring tournament because I just kind of figured that Saudi Arabia was going to want Jade Cargill there. I don't know if Saudi Arabia gives a shit. Honestly, we know how they kind of treat women's wrestling. So I don't know if they're more worried about seeing Logan Paul and Cody Rhodes than they are about what's happening on the women's side. But I've shifted my odds to I'm going to put Tiffany Stratton in that lead position. I think the more I think about it, the more it makes sense for her to carry a crown. She will work that crown. She will work that angle. It will become a big deal. She will become Queen Tiffy, and she will run with that storyline. I think she ends up in that main event, or I don't know if we call it a main event. She ends up in that championship match against Lyra Valkyria. I'm sold on that idea of, hey, I've always liked the idea of let's let the new person, let's get some burn here on a premium live event. Let's introduce her, because the more I see her, the more I go, I'm starting to understand why Lyra Valkyria is a big deal. And I know the IWC is going to bitch about this. The IWC is going to say, well, here we go. This is not a premium live event match. Tiffany Stratton versus Lyra Valkyria. No, this is a Triple H match. This is definitely a Triple H match, and this is the type of thing I think we'll see in the future is we don't have to book the biggest stars. We can book up-and-comers in a good position for them to get noticed. Last thing, here's Kofi showed out. Kofi Kingston, shout out to you. That was a hell of a match with Gunther. I think, he continues every time he gets in the ring. This is the argument I have with guys like Dragunov is you got to explain to me what Dragunov does that Kofi Kingston doesn't do. And Kofi Kingston, he in the last 10 years has not been booked like a main event guy. Sure, we had Kofi Mania, but we saw how that came and went. And since then, it's just been tag team stuff for Kofi Kingston. And now it looks like the New Day are going to be relegated to giving Karrion Kross some momentum, because I don't assume that Karrion Kross moves over to Raw, picks a fight with a New Day, and then gets beat up by the New Day. If that happens, Karrion's done. You could start future endeavoring Karrion Kross right now if he gets into a story with the New Day and the New Day just absolutely run all over him. Gable continues to shine as he becomes more Kurt Angle each week, which is not a bad thing. It's just an observation. I think that Gable is evolving right in front of our eyes, and you are seeing somebody who will be in the main event in the near future. I will say it now. Chad Gable will be in the main event in the near future as one of the biggest heels in WWE. But it was a solid Raw. King of the Ring focus. There's not a ton you can do outside of that. Not a ton you want to do outside of that. They're doing a strong job of making King of the Ring feel relevant this year. It was an easily, like I said earlier, easily digestible Raw. 3 hours came and went. No complaints here. So let's drop a final blow to the IWC. Finish him. So it appears that AEW is not done using CM Punk's name to try to boost the ratings. Matt Hardy came out and gave his opinion on the Bucks and Punk situation 10 years after it happened on his podcast. He proceeded to take the I don't want to take sides stance because I have no problem with CM Punk, but I side with the Young Bucks. Why bring it up if you don't want to take sides? You don't have to have an opinion on this situation. Let's be honest, Matt Hardy. You take whatever side your wife Reba tells you to take. I feel like Matt Hardy takes whatever side of whatever company is paying him the most at the time. The truth is, the Hardys, the Bucks, they're just a bunch of emo kids. They're a bunch of emo kids who resonate with the current generation of emo kids, and that's where the divide is created between casual fans and the emo IWC. Let me know your thoughts on today's episode in the comments, and while you're there, make sure to join the Casual Wrestling faction. The link is in the description of this video. Thank you guys, as always, for taking time out of your day to hang out with me. I am Nerdy D. You guys are the Casual Wrestling faction, and we will talk more pro wrestling tomorrow.